Hello, my name is Krami Wanyama from Tropical Birding. I'm going to take you through a Uganda birding and nature virtual tour. Thank you for creating time to watch it, and many thanks to my fellow guides at Tropical Birding for encouraging me to do this video. So we're going to start by looking at the map of Africa to have an idea of where Uganda is located. It's the map of Africa, and if you look at the red map here, that's Uganda, and then you have Kenya in the east, you have the big Tanzania in the south, you have Rwanda in the southwest, and you have the Democratic Republic of Congo in the west, and South Sudan in the north, and you have Lake Victoria here too. If we continue with the second map, we have a look at the route where we are going to go. When you arrive in Uganda, you arrive at Entebbe International Airport. This is where you have this yellow mark, and then we will spend some nights here. This is where we'll bird the Entebbe Botanical Gardens, about 40 acres big gardens in a town with very, very good birds. And then from there we'll go west to Lake Mboro National Park. Very scenic with rolling hills, and located in the most northern part of the Zambesian biome. Zambesian biome goes all the way down to Rwanda, Burundi, and Tanzania. And then from there we will go to the southwest. That's where we find Bwendi Impenetrable National Park, and that's located in the Albertine Rift. The Albertine Rift is an upward push as a result of the movement of plate tectonics several million years ago. So the big plates pushed towards each other and caused an upward lifting of a big mass of land. But it's very mountainous there, very beautiful with a high level of endemism, and that's where we also get to see the mountain gorillas. So they will be staying at two places. One is Ruhija, which is a lot more higher on endemics because it's higher elevated. It's between 1900 and 2,500 meters above sea level. And then the other part of Bwendi Impenetrable National Park will be doing is Bohoma, and Bohoma is a little bit lower, around 1,500 meters. It's like an area of overlap for higher elevation birds and lower elevation birds. Very good forest there. And then from there we will continue to Queen Elizabeth National Park. This is the most diverse park in the country with over 620 species of birds. And then after that we'll continue to Chibale Forest National Park. This is part of the Albertine Rift because this mountainous area goes around to the Rwenzori Mountains here as well, and then all the way down here. So here is where we get to see the common chimpanzees and also look for several medial elevation to lowland forest birds. That's where we also try the green-breasted peter. And then from there we'll continue north to a town called Masindi. We will visit Masindi to cover the Royal Mile, one of the most nice birding spots on the continent, and that is very good for the Congo forest lowland birds. And then after that we'll continue north to Murchison Falls National Park. This is the largest park in the country, about 3,800 square kilometers. And that's where we get to cross the mighty River Nile. That's Africa's longest river, and we do several game drives there. So this tour is going to be a mix of forest birding and open country or open savanna bird viewing. Very good opportunities for photography. After Murchison Falls we'll come back to Entebbe, and this tour usually has an extension. The extension goes to Rwanda. We fly from Entebbe and come to Kigali, that's the Rwanda capital. Then from there we drive to Nyungwe Forest, which is a lot more in the south, and then after that come back to Kigali and fly back to Uganda. But our tour is basically going to focus on Uganda. So let's have a look. Hope you enjoy it. So we're starting off with a common bulbul. This is one bird we should see from the arrival at the airport, and this one's going to keep us in business throughout the tour. The bird we should see every day on the tour. So we will visit the Entebbe Botanical Gardens and we get chances for the red-billed firefinch, very beautiful bird from the waxbills family. We'll also see the speckled mossbirds in the Entebbe Botanical Gardens. This 40 acres large chunk of garden has got a 1.5 kilometers stretch along Lake Victoria. We should see some waterbirds there. We get to see the black and white casqued hornbill. This is the male. The female normally has a smaller casque. This is what we call the casque. Fruit-eating birds. They also take in some animals like insects, like young birds. They'll take in some snakes as well. Mostly the blind snakes. And we will continue birding the gardens. We get to see one of the turacos there. I've got a chance of up to 3 turaco species. Turacos are endemic to Africa. And this is called the eastern plantain eater. The plantain eaters and go-away birds are the most non-colorful members of the turaco family. We get chances of the black-headed gonolek. The gonoleks come from a family of birds called bushrakes. There's another gonolek we should see on this tour as well. We get to see the hammercops. This is a bird belonging in its own family and the closest relative to the shoebill. What they're doing here is what we call false spouting. Sometimes you find up to 20 individuals in one group, and they are getting on top of each other, spreading the wings up like that, and making all these very interesting noises or vocalizations. Can be a very interesting moment. We should see the Hadada ibis. This one's vocalizations feature a lot in African movies, mostly documentaries on wildlife. Botanical Gardens also introduce us to the weavers. This tour should see several weavers, very colorful birds. This is a male village weaver working on a nest. The weavers come in very many variations. This is the Wayne's weaver. They love to be in the forest, quite nomadic. Very good place to see them. And along the water's edges, we should see the black-winged stilt. Very beautiful red legs. Delicate-looking birds. Then we shall continue to Mabamba the next day. And from Mabamba, we look for the shoebill. But before we get there, we pick up a few birds along the way. And the lizard buzzard is one of them. Very widespread acceptor. So the black line down the throat is a very good feature to tell this bird from the other raptors that look like it. We get chances for the yellow-billed ducks when we start looking for the aquatic birds at Mabamba. The African jacanas are also quite common at Mabamba. The Mabamba wetland is one of those big wet areas around Lake Victoria. And there is papyrus there at Mabamba. At papyruses you find birds like these blue-headed cuckoos. These ones are very active during the breeding times. The males come out and perch on top of the papyruses and vocalize to really announce their territories, and also display for the females. They can be shy sometimes. We get chances for the blue-breasted bee-eater. Take very good note of the white on the sides of the neck. There are some bee-eaters that look like this one, although they may not share their habitat, but that's a very good feature to tell them apart. And there comes the shoebill. This is a big one on this tour, one of Africa's most sought-after birds. They love the Mabamba marshes because of the shallow areas. That's where the lungfish, which is the prime deity, loves to be. We'll also look for the papyrus gonolek in the papyrus habitats. These are very secretive birds. Remember, these are part of the bushrake family. When we get this one, we are at 100% of the gonoleks. Continue towards Lake Mburo National Park, passing by the equator, where we'll stop and try out some photography experience. and we should see one of the commonest eagles in Uganda. This is the long-crested eagle. They love to perch on top of power poles. While continuing to Lake Mburo, we'll pass by rice plantations. They attract several water-related birds. The black heron sometimes is a very good one to get there, and sometimes you get chances to see them feeding. When they're feeding, like you see here, they really spread out the wings, cover the head, control the light coming in, and flush the animals in the mud and in the water and feed on them. While we approach Lake Mburo, there's several woods, bushes, and thickets which attract very beautiful birds like this African green pigeon. Look at those very nice red legs, red base at the bill, and the blue in the eye. Very attractive bird. We get to see another member of the Turoko family. This is the barefaced go-away bird. And there's good chances of seeing some parrots at perch in Lake Mburo. This is the Maya's parrot, very fast parrots. We also get to see the red-chested cuckoo. We get chances to see some of the francolins, and this is the crested francolin. This can be skittish sometimes. We get to see some woodland dwelling hornbills. This is the African grey hornbill. Mburo introduces us to big game. We get chances for the common zebras. It's also got very good chances for buffaloes, common eland, that's the largest antelope. We get to see another bee-eater here in Lake Mburo National Park. Remember the first bee-eater we saw, the blue-breasted bee-eater? If you look at these guys, they don't have the white on the sides of the neck, right here. And that is the little bee-eater. So we take a boat ride at Lake Mburo, looking for the African finfoot, and also get introduced to some water-dwelling mammals like the hippo and some reptiles. But some very nice mornings, you get very good views at this lake. Mburo has got very interesting habitats. If you get to the lake, you have riverine bushes, and those bushes really attract beautiful birds like the spectacled weavers. And the general scenery around the area is very typical rolling hills. And there comes the African finfoot. Look at those feet. They're very, very beautiful. There's only 3 members in this family: the African finfoot, the Asian finfoot, and the sun grebe in South America. We get to have a look at a video. The fish here in Lake Mburo really attracts several pairs of the African fish eagle. If you have been watching those African documentaries, this one is used a lot. It's got very interesting vocalizations. We get chances to see the hippos there. I want to show you something at this hippo. I'll just take back a second to have a look at this hippo. So if you look at this hippo, there's a oxpecker. And this is the red-billed oxpecker. These are not very common at Lake Mburo National Park. This one I got one of my last tours this year of 2020. Usually we get the yellow-billed oxpeckers in this park. But this guy you see here is actually pecking a wound of a hippo. They really love to be on animals where they come and peck off the ticks, like on buffaloes, even on domestic cows in some places. But if an animal has got a wound, these guys are likely to worsen it because blood is also high on their diet. So we'll be looking for some of East Africa's endemics, like this red-faced barbet, very range restricted. While exiting Lake Mburo on the day when we get out of here, we get chances to look for and find the slate-colored bubu. The bubus are birds of the bushshrike family. The black ones and black and white, we call them boubous, B-O-U-B-O-U, and the black and red ones are gonalegs. So the nighttime we spend in Lekimboro, we have chances for these black-shouldered nightjar. We also get to see another nightjar in this park. This is the freckled nightjar. They love to be on huge boulders. While leaving Lekimboro, going to Bwindi Impenetrable National Park, we'll be looking by the roadsides for some good birds like this greater blue-eared starling. And when we start getting into the higher elevations of the Alberton Rift, we have chances for birds like this African stonechat. This is a male on full breeding plumage. So this is a photo of what Bwindi Impenetrable National Park looks like. This is if you look at the satellite images, you get to see a chunk that is really bordered by very sharp edges of human activity. So what you see here, these are terraces and human settlements, thanks to the Wildlife Authority and the government of Uganda for protecting the forest. Otherwise, all of this would be gone due to human activity. This is the home of the mountain gorillas. You can only imagine how many are wandering around here. The lodge we'll be staying at has got very good views. On very clear days, you get to see all the volcanoes. These are volcanoes in the Virunga ranges. So the Alberton Rift, where we are right now, is an upward rift as a result of plate tectonics. I talked about this at the beginning. And you get several volcanoes in here. On a very clear day, you have very good views of glares of the active volcano in Democratic Republic of Congo called Nyiragongo. And then you also get to see these ones here. See this one here? This is Muhabura, and this is Gahinga, and this is Sabinyo, and these two are in the Congo. So these three, you get them in Uganda and Rwanda. This third one here, you get to the top of it, you are at the border of three countries, Uganda, Rwanda, and Democratic Republic of Congo. Normally the first Franklin we get to see on my tours, and the first Alberton Rift endemic is the handsome Franklin. Once we're driving into or towards our accommodation, we keep our eyes on the road, and on very good days we get chances and catch up with this one. Very beautiful looking Franklin. We also get to look for the western tinkerbird. Tinkerbirds are small barbets. We get the highland dwelling bee-eater. This is a cinnamon-chested bee-eater. This is another one without a white spot around the neck, but you don't really get these ones in lower elevations here in Uganda. And then one of the days we get track the mountain gorillas. This is the major reason for conserving this park. Yes, there's need for the forests, but the most endangered animal in this park is the mountain gorillas. Before they gazetted the park in the early 1990s, there was less than 700 individuals in the whole world, but thanks to the conservation efforts and the contributions to tourists like you who come here and chose to track the gorillas, the efforts have been going on successfully, and now the numbers are just above 1,000. We don't have any mountain gorillas in the zoos. These are now referred to as eastern gorillas. But the most common name that you should see in most of the literature is going to be mountain gorillas. There's one with a baby. And around our accommodation facility, the flowers and some very nice trees attract beautiful birds like this variable sunbird. That's a male on full breeding plumage. We also get to see some members of the big old world flycatcher family, and this is the white-browed robin-shot. We take some walks around the community. There's a very nice community trail that's got very interesting forest habitat, and we get chances to see this white-starred robin. This too belongs to the flycatcher family. So we will do a hike into Ruhija. This is the first section of Bwindi Impenetrable National Park we'll be staying. The second one, which is at a lower elevation, will be Bohoma. This part is highly elevated. It ranges between 1900 to 2500 meters above sea level, and it's much higher on endemics. This is the yellow-eyed black flycatcher. This is another Albertan Rift endemic. And we also get to see the regal sunbird, very stunning, one of the most colorful sunbirds within the region. They love to be on these Tithonia diversifolia flowers. And these flowers will occur at some of the lodges, like this one I took from Broadville Forest Camp. And we get to see another member of the bushrake family, and this is Doherty's bushrake. We get to see another Albertan Rift endemic. This is the Renzoria pallis. They're very interesting. Some birds are really restricted to certain microhabitats, but these guys are going to be everywhere in the forest. And major, or the biggest target on this hike, is the grouse broadbill. We do about 1,800 steps on this day. 18,000 steps, sorry about that, 18,000 steps on this day to find this bird and several other Albertan Rift endemics. The strange weaver, that's another Albertan Rift endemic. So we also get to see some really beautiful reptiles on this tour, like this Renzori three-horned chameleon. So we will proceed to Bohoma, which is at a lower elevation, and on the way we'll stop by a very nice part of the forest we refer to as the neck, and that's where we expect to see the African black duck. And around the same spot we expect to see the Cassins flycatcher. They love to be on rocky spots around or along fast flowing streams. And we get to see the blue-throated brown sunbird as well. And we get to see the black bee-eater. These are forest-dwelling bee-eaters. The Levalence cuckoo is also a nice one. There's a part of the drive that goes through cultivation areas. They love that kind of habitat. That's a Holub's golden weaver. Very beautiful yellow eye. Very nice chunky looking weaver. When we get to Bohoma, the accommodation facilities there favor some very lovely birds like this snowy crowned robin chat. It's another member of the flycatcher family. And there is also the northern double-collared sunbird. They love to come to those Tithonia diversifolia flowers around the lodges. A brown-throated water eye, that's a female. Some of the few birds that are named after the females. Very beautiful birds. They love the gardens around the lodges. This is a Lahost's monkey. This is a mountain dwelling and Albertan Rift endemic too. They're quite tame around Bohoma. We will go into the primary forest one of the next days. We'll also spend some time around the secondary forest. Very beautiful forest in there. This is a many-colored bushrake, one of the targets at Bohoma. And the black-billed weaver or dark-billed weaver, some field guides call it differently. This is a very interesting weaver. Most of the weavers are yellow and black. This one is black with a yellow face. This is an equatorial acolate, forest undergrowth dwelling bird, another member of the flycatcher family. We also get some trogons. Two trogons occur in this area. This is the bar-tailed trogon. We also have chance for the other one called the narina trogon. This one is a bird that is not seen every day, not an everyday kind of bird, very uncommon. This is called the Kivu ground thrush. I think I'll say we see it once or twice in 10 trips. Very good bird. There's also the blue-throated roller, forest-dwelling roller. We see some tinkerbirds and barbets in this part of the tour. This is the speckled tinkerbird. Tinkerbirds, small barbets like I mentioned earlier, but they also excavate their own holes in softer wooded trays for nesting. We'll try the forest undergrowth for Newman's warbler. This is a tough skulker. And we get good chances to find the African broadbill. These ones love to be up there in the canopies. We find them in most cases by the displays of the wings. They perch, and in display they'll take off one spot and then make a circular movement and then get back at the same spot. So the sound that we usually hear is the wing beats. Look at those yellow feet. And in the evenings we try out for the African wood owl. We will proceed to Queen Elizabeth National Park, a very diverse park, and going to this park we'll go through the southern section. We call that the Shasha sector. That's famous for the tree climbing lions. So the sooty chart are some of the first birds we get to see there. That's the male. We get to see the yellow-throated longclaw. This one strikes people from America, from the US. It reminds them of the meadowlarks. The pin-tailed wider, this is from a family of parasitic birds, and this is a male pin-tailed wider on breeding plumage. So sometimes when we're driving through the Shasha section, we get good chances for tree climbing lions. This is a lioness enjoying the beautiful breeze in one of those fig trees. Good for testiculars, like this red-faced testicular. This stretch here is very, very nice for birds of prey. So we look out for the banded snake eagle. And also we get to see some very interesting activities sometimes. This is an African harrier hawk. I found this one hunting. They come and hunt at the backs of trees or in the backs of the bananas. They've got very flexible joints that they can turn at interestingly non-usual or unusual angles. Let's have a look at this video. So look at it. And in the background there's a mustard grass warbler calling. Very nice looking yellow seer. And this is the mustache grass warbler we've been hearing calling in the previous video. So when we arrive our accommodation, this is Moya Safari Lodge since the 50s. Very nice facility. Looks over the Kazinga Channel and Lake Edward. So the next day we will go out for some activity. We will visit the Kob Lacking Grounds. A kob is a species of an antelope. This is also the national mammal of Uganda. Lacking grounds are areas where these mammals come for mating activities. We get to see some very nice African game birds. This is a crowned lapwing, beautiful red legs, nice eye. We also get to see a Senegal lapwing, very strikingly beautiful, and we get to see the red-necked francolin. Some field guides refer to this as a red-necked spurfowl. Sometimes when you find some lion kills, because we'll be going by the lacking grounds, the lions love to come by the lacking grounds to get easy prey. So if there's any remains there, you find vultures coming. So let's look at this video and see how many vultures we have here. So we have this one here. This is a Rupert's griffin, and we have this huge one here at the back. This one here. This is a lappet-faced vulture, very large vulture. And then this one that's not really in very good focus. This is the white-backed vulture. 3 vultures in a single video or in a single image. We take a boat ride in the afternoon along the Kazinga Channel. This is a 40 kilometers channel connecting 2 lakes, Edward and George, but we don't do that whole stretch. We do about 2 kilometers of the channel and go all the way into Lake Edward, but we see lots of good stuff. We get some points that have got very huge congregations of birds, like this one here. You see there's a great egret, you see there's a marabou stork, the yellow-billed stork, and there's several great cormorants or white-breasted cormorants, and there's a great ibis. It's really a fantastic moment. We get to see the Nile monitor. This is the second largest true reptiles in that family after the African Nile crocodile. The yellow-billed storks love to be by the banks of the channel. Hippos also love it there. There's a hippo there, and then at the back there's the faster waterbacks. That's an antelope species. Very good views of African bush elephants. The way the animals mix here is the most amazing bit of the ride. So you have African bush elephants here with African buffaloes. And you get crocodiles at very close range with hippos, with birds. The crocodiles here really don't bother the other animals because there's plenty of fish in this channel. There's a warthog at the back there. Yellow-billed oxpeckers on the back of an African buffalo. We also get to see the African skimmers and the African spoonbill. Very beautiful eye, interesting bill. We leave Queen Elizabeth National Park and proceed to Chivale Forest National Park. That's also within the Alberton Rift. And on the way, we stop by some marshes around a town called Fort Portal, and we look for the Northern Masked River. It's only recently that this one has been added on the Ugandan list. At the same spot, we also get to see a white-collared oliveback, a very nice-looking bird from the waxbill family. That's getting close to the park. You can see part of the park there. We passed through very nice tea plantations. It's very scenic, very beautiful green out there. And the lodge we love to stay at, this is a chimpanzee forest guest house. Got very nice gardens, very beautiful, very neat spot. Everything is very clean there. I really love this spot, and got very nice gardens for the birds. So we'll see what we can see around these gardens. We have chances to see some gray-backed Camaropteras. Camaropteras are old world warblers. They really love to go around these hibiscus for insects that come in to feed on the nectar. Got some palm trees around, and this one really attracts the African grey parrot. I know many people have seen this one in the cages. Good chance of seeing them here very nicely. And then this is quite an uncommon one, the Uganda spotted woodpecker or speckled-breasted woodpecker. This is the most reliable spot we get to see this bird on the tour. There's the male up here and then the female down there. The male has got a red crest. And we also get double-toothed barbets, beautiful ones. Sometimes you see these ones are picking parasites of each other. And Chivale Forest National Park is referred to as the primate capital of the world because of the high density of primates. On record, they have 13 species. This is a mounted gorilla. We found this one trying to get some minerals from the soil by the roadside. Let's see if we can have a better look at this primate. Yeah, very nice looking. So most of the literature will call these ones black and white colobus. Colobus is a group of primates without an opposable thumb. We will actually we will go and do a walk around a community-based initiative called the Bigodi Wetland Sanctuary, and that's very good for primates too, but also good for some very nice birds. We will get a couple of green bulls to add on those that we may have seen at Buhoma, and a very nice looking western nicketer loves this area, where you get chances of seeing these ones there as well. And white-tailed antrush also occur there. Among the primates, you get the Uganda mangabe. This one was they go into the farmers' farms around there and pick the maize. So this one had picked maize. It's eating it. If you look at these, they got very huge porches, so they stock plenty of food to go away with. One of them stays out there and looks for farmers coming in. This is the Uganda red colobus. Another one from the colobus cluster. These two were preening. But in primates, we call this grooming. Preening would be the birds. And we get to see the biggest of all the African turacos. This is the great blue turaco. They make very good facial makeup. Look at the bill. red nail and a yellow vest, a very nice hair crest. And we get to see the yellow-billed bobet. They love that sport. And a very nice one. African flufftails can be really tough. This one is the easiest of them. So this area has got very interesting habitats. You got a papyrus. We walk through a board, or we walk over a board through the papyrus, and we also go past riverine forest. And sometimes, it's very, very wet, it can be really damp, and these flufftails love it. This is the white spotted flufftail. They'll stay around and call when they feel like insecure anymore. See what they do? They run away. And then in one of the mornings, we will go to the inside of the forest, and that's the day when we tend to look for the chimpanzees as well. But the major target in the morning will be the green-breasted pitta. We get into the forest very early. We start off as early as 5 and get in there. And we want to be in the forest in time when the pitta starts displaying, because if they're not displaying, they can be really tough to find. They'll have to be on the ground feeding there. You can walk past them, because if they detect danger, they want to freeze. So we go in early and listen out for this kind of display. So the bird basically perches. Look at this. Perches and gets up, displays, and gets back. It's not a very professional video, but it gives you what to expect, a picture of what to expect. Okay, this is a very nice photo of green-breasted pitta and common chimpanzees. And the tour will continue towards Masindi. Along the way to Masindi, we get good chances for the striped kingfisher. Now this is going to be the longest drive of the tour, but the road is good. The Uganda government has done a very good job on working on the tourist routes. The roads are good in most of them, especially on this tour. This is a brown babbler. We stop here to cut the lengthy drive and pick up some birds like this brown babbler. And also this brown-backed crow. So look for the brown transport along the way. And the red-cheeked cotton blur, that's also very likely along the way. This is also another member of the waxbill family. Very nice looking male. And we have good chances for the gray-headed oliveback. This male was working on a nest, and there's an interesting animal next to it, a milkweed locust. So we will go out to the Royal Mile the next day after spending our first night at Masindi Hotel, because that's the favorite place around Masindi town. That's also the oldest hotel in the country. So when we go to the Royal Mile in the morning, we will first spend a few minutes birding around the forest edges, and we got chances for this Cabanis bunting, and also the African yellow warbler. And inside the forest, we look for a couple of very range restricted birds that only occur in the Congo lowland forest. This is the farthest extension they can go. We only get them here in another part of the country called Semliki Forest. But it's also great for kingfishers, like this African dwarf kingfisher. And also the African pygmy kingfisher. This is a young bird. We also hope to see the forest robin. This is an undergrowth dwelling member of the flycatcher family. This is what the Royal Mile looks like. So you have a stretch of up to a mile long. The road is quite wide, open enough. The road ends at a research station, so there's not much traffic going through. That's a tourist vehicle we're looking at. And the sides of the forest are always slashed to up to 6 to 7 meters, so it's very open country, very long, huge trees. Mostly here in Africa, lowland forests tend to have a lot more taller trees than the highland or high elevation forests. So you get some birds that are a kind of a neck craners, like the turibatis. So some very interesting mammals occur here. This is a checkered elephant shrew. Not very common. Once in a while we get to see them. They're very cool looking mammals with very long hind legs. And it's very nice for butterflies as well. Several forests in Uganda are amazing for butterflies. This is a Herbert's red glider. When the heat of the day picks up, the butterflies get really active. And at the Royal Mile, we look out for the white-thighed hornbill. If you look at this one, it's black and white, like the black and white cusked hornbill at the beginning. But if you look at its cusk, the smell has a very long, pointed cusk. Very good feature to look at when you want to tell them apart, because they both occur in this forest. And some of the unique ones that are really tough to get to is this Uganda woodland warbler. And there's also the chocolate bark kingfisher. This is the kind of bird that will be calling, and you'll spend an hour looking for it when you are in a group of more than two. Tough canopy dwelling kingfishers. So the tour will continue to Murchison Falls National Park. That's the largest park in the country with over 800 square kilometers. But we will go through the Butiaba escarpment to look for some escarpment dwelling birds. But along the way, we will look out for this marsh chagra, and we'll look out for the battler. A battler is a short-tailed eagle. Very nice stretch for birds of prey. This is a duck-chanting goshawk juvenile. They love that stretch, and we've got very good chances. This is a very different looking bird. If you get a look at the adult, look at this. So this will have to transform into this very nice reds here, nice red legs. And approaching the park, the woods, they are very nice for the gray-headed bush shrike, a quite chunky looking bush shrike with a very thick bill. At Murchison Falls, we experienced some very nice days there. We like to spend there 2 full days. There's about 3 nights, and have very nice mornings and evenings. When you come by the Nile, the views are very nice when the sun is coming in. So this was at the jetty. There's a point where we take a ferry to go to our accommodation. We'll be staying at the northern part of the park, or that is, you get there, you have to cross the River Nile with a ferry, quite big ferry that carries up to 8 vehicles. And the ferry only goes for 7 minutes. This is a red-necked falcon. These are some of the birds we should expect at Murchison Falls during the birding game drives we'll be doing. These ones tend to occur in pairs. Very good for raptors. This is a grey kestrel. And we get to see one of our last primates of the tour. This is a Patus monkey, a true savanna dwelling primate with a baby. Lots of mammals occur at Murchison Falls National Park. This is a hartebeest. Subspecies is Lelwell's. Some authorities will split this one into an independent species. Lelwell's hartebeest. And there's lots of lions at Murchison Falls with very good chances of seeing them. I'm looking at an African harrier hawk flying around here. And where the lions, you expect scavengers. This is a striped jackal. They keep following up the lion, side-striped jackal. This had really fed, and look at the belly. Beautiful looking mammal side-striped jackals. And we also expect giraffes. Subspecies we see here is the Ross's child giraffe. And several more kingfishers, and a couple of them. This is a gray-headed kingfisher. And more hornbills. This is a ground-dwelling one you get in this part of the country. This is the Abyssinian ground hornbill. The male is the one with the red wattles, and the female is that with the blue wattles. So these two are taking care of each other in courtship. We get to see bustards here, bustards with a U. This is a black-bellied bustard. And more bustards. This is the Denham's bustard, the largest bustard we should see on this tour. And we also get to see some thickneys. A lot more of crepuscular birds. This is a spotted thickney. So on this tour we should see up to 3 species of thickneys. These spotted thickney, Senegal thickney, and the water thickney. And the silverbird, this is a member of the flycatcher family, all silver, gray on the back, and some cranes. So it's going to be the only species of crane we should see on this tour, and this is the grey-crowned crane, also the national bird of Uganda. This was caught in action in a courtship dance. And we get to see some members of the weaver family with different names. This is the northern red bishop on full breeding plumage. This bird would be brown with streaks out of breeding plumage or in eclipse. And some tough ones to see, although very widespread. This is a glitter painted snipe. And more bee eaters. This is a northern carmine bee eater. They love this part of the country, and this is where we have our chances on this tour. And more bee eaters are the lovely looking red-throated bee eaters. So we take 2 boats in this part of the park. One will be downstream along the Nile, and then the other one will be upstream to the delta. So the one downstream, that gets us to the bottom of the famous Murchison Falls. Those are the world's most powerful waterfalls. But it's also quite muddy, and a lot of wildlife occurs there, including several schools of hippopotamus. A group of hippo is called a school. This is an African swamp hen. And we get to see white-faced soaring ducks as well. A saddle-billed stork. This bird excites very many Ugandans because it's got all the colors of the Ugandan flag in the bill: black, yellow, red. And when we get to the bottom of the falls, there are some very lovely rocks, and those really entertain the rock prating calls. And on this boat ride, we expect to see the Goliath heron. That's the world's largest heron. Very big. You do not see it in the picture, or if you see it by itself, but if you see it with another kind of heron by its sides, for example, the great egret, you see a very big difference. And, a look at the Murchison Falls, where after the boat ride to the bottom, we get a moment during the tour and also visit the top of them, because to complete it you really have to get the top. That's why it's really more dramatic. So you get this whole river Nile, which actually stretches to hundreds of meters in some spots. You have the water squeezed into an 8 feet narrow cleft and dropping at 40 feet distance. And sometimes you'll find 2 rainbows here. Very breathtaking. That's where it drops in. And the boat ride that we do towards the delta, that's upstream, is very good for the shoebill. Very good for the giant kingfisher. It's very nice looking male. We also get a chance to do some evening drives at Murchison Falls National Park, where we see some nightjars, like this slender-tailed nightjar, and also grayish eagle owls, among other nocturnals like some mammals that should include some Cape Hare. So after Murchison Falls, we want to drive back to Entebbe. We will try to go past Kampala city. Can be quite congested, but we will take the bypass and then get to the Kampala-Entebbe Express Highway. Along the way to Entebbe, we'll stop by some woodlands and look out for this white-crested turako. When I was with Keith one time, he really felt like this should be a white-headed turako. There's a lot of white in the head than just on the crest. And we also look out for the red-headed weaver. And that gets the end of our tour. If people are doing the extension, then we continue to render, but in this case we're stopping at that. Thank you so much for being with me, for spending all this time to enjoy this tour. Have a great day.